And are you refreshed? Good. Now what? Oh, there you are. You know, we've talked about everything already, yes? It's all been chewed over.
First, let me say that I think I manifested you before I knew you existed. So,
That's true of every manifestation. You don't know how it's going to mix up in the vortex. You are creating things from energy. Yes, you are.
oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, my good friend and I would exchange positive things to listen to all the time, and she sent me you. And so I listened to you for about 2 months on the phone, which is very different than seeing you. And so I watched you on YouTube after about 2 months, and I called my friend and I said, she's a channeler. I go, are you serious?
Esther would deny that, but you can say what you want.
But I had no idea from just listening. So it was a fascinating shift for me.
You just thought Esther was really, really smart?
Yes. And, you know,
she's good with that.
yes, that's what I thought. And I thought there was this whole bunch of other people on the stage with you, and so it's very confusing for me when I watched you, and I went, wow, but it's a perfect example of when the pupil is ready, the teacher will appear, and in a form you'll find acceptable. So here it is, 2.5.
The path of least resistance, because everything that you're asking for, your source energy is already on it. In other words, your inner being knows where you stand in relationship to every desire you hold, and is offering to you a steady stream of information about how to get you from where you are to that. But the reason we call it the path of least resistance, it's your path of least resistance, because you have all kinds of, not just you have beliefs and things, and so your inner being just keeps saying, well, given where you are and given what you want, now do this. Now given where you are and what you want, how about this? Now given where you are and what you want, how about this? And there are so many factors, like you want information, and you want clarity, and you want fun, and you want insight, and there are so many factors that your life has helped you to realize that you want, and your inner being factors every one of those in. So when you get tuned into who you are and you follow those impulses, then not only do you get to where you want to be over and over and over again, but you have a really wonderful time along the way to it.
Oh, see, isn't that beautiful?
Yes, it is.
It's beautiful. So that's what happened to me. So we were just in the audience, and I came up with my question about 30 seconds before you picked me. It's a different question than my original one, but I was very excited about it because I think it's really why I'm here. I have a blockage, or something stops my vibration when I get confused about.
So confusion and blockage are the
Confusion
same
and
thing.
blockage are-
I have split energy about,
Yes, about.
because I think this and that about it.
Yes. I am a rebel and a radical about moving forward.
We all are. Rebel means you're rebellious and pushing against things, and nothing will slow down your motion forward than pushing against what you're leaving.
So, but I get confused about if I'm putting positive things into my vortex. I get confused about how is putting positive things into my vortex. I feel like when I go to the rebel language or the radical language, that those are in conflict.
Well, the words don't matter so much, but how you feel when you offer them does matter. So if they're in conflict, then you need to choose some different language. You want to give us an example?
Well, we were talking about like war versus peace, or if you're being a radical towards a movement that is out there, something that you believe in and you want to
These labels are a little confusing to begin with. Can you briefly define what you mean when you use the word radical?
Okay, maybe rebel's the better word.
Can you briefly define what you mean when you use the word radical?
Rebel.
Because rebel is rebellious, and rebellious is pushing against. And pushing against what you don't want won't get you to what you do want.
Right.
Yeah, there's a conflict, yeah.
Yeah, that's my conflict. So how do I, if I want to fight for a cause?
You don't have to fight for anything. Your fighting slows you down. But there's a big population of the world that believes in fighting, and so it's easy for you to pick it up. But when you're pushing against something, you are not moving toward what you want. You've just got to pick the direction you want to go and be more steady about going in that direction. What humans do is that life shows you what you don't want, which helps you to know what you do want. And instead of just turning toward what you do want and talking about why you want it and looking for the positive aspects of being there, because they don't believe they can have it, and then they justify wanting that by expressing how bad the other is. That's what rebelliousness is. It's pushing against making a strong statement of all the things you don't want. But in a law of attraction-based universe, you're just clogging up your point of attraction. In a law of attraction-based universe, there's no exclusion. There is no rebellion. There is no pushing against. There is only attraction. So when you see something that you want and say yes to it, you include it in your vibration. When you see something you don't want and shout no at it, you include it in your vibration. And all the stuff you're shouting no at is keeping you from the yes side of it.
Which is why I feel that conflict.
Yeah, there is a conflict, and you feel it in the form of emotion that feels like disappointment or disapproval or powerlessness or.
You're right. So just what do I want and work towards it, not fight against.
Well, we've been talking about these things for a long time, and it's a way of going about it. When you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and you do have the ability to start a day out by thinking about the I want side of an equation and practicing it until it gets a foothold, until it becomes a habit of thought. A belief is just a thought you continue to think. If you desire something and believe it, there's no split energy, so it happens quickly. If you desire something and you doubt it, there's split energy, and so it doesn't happen quickly or maybe ever. And so the key is to get your energy going toward what you want. And so there are all kinds of processes that we've offered. Pivoting, when you know what you don't want, talk about what you do want instead, and so forth. But there is a faster way. And the faster way includes understanding how the whole thing works. And this is how the whole thing works. What you offer vibrationally is what is available to you. It's what impulses come to you. It's what your path is about. And so if you could just know that there's all this, we don't really like the word support. It's the word Esther finds. There's all this awareness of what you want, an awareness of where you are in relationship to it, and guidance about the path of least resistance to help you to be there, that's available to you all the time. But you've got to tune to the frequency so that you can hear it. So that means if you, for example, quiet your mind through meditation, and it takes a little while to develop the art of that, but when you quiet your mind, then your vibration rises, and when your vibration rises, now you're privy to what your inner being knows about everything. So impulses and guidance come into your mind from that point of view that knows where you are and where you want to be. But if you're getting guidance from someplace other than that, it's probably leading you into more rebelliousness, into more radicalism. It's probably leading you to more pushing against what you don't want. So when you understand that the process works this way, you've been living and asking, and there is a vibrational reality that is calling you, and your inner being is right there calling you to everything that you want. So when you're not doing that thing you do that keeps you from hearing it, you hear it. Well, what are some of the things you do that keep you from hearing it? Complaining, noticing what is, taking score of what is, trying to follow other people who don't know where they're going either. There are so many things that you do on a daily basis that muddy up your waters, where if you would meditate, you would have a much greater opportunity to feel your guidance and know when you're moving in the direction of something that you want. And then the next thing that we would do if we were standing in your physical shoes, we would deliberately, many times a day, stop and acknowledge that this is a new segment where new things are going to happen, and we would calibrate ourselves to what we know is in the vortex about that. We would calibrate to thoughts that feel good about those things. The word calibration isn't hard, is it? Have you ever tuned a guitar? That's all it is, calibrating to the note. When the whole orchestra calibrates to the note, then the orchestra sounds good. If the orchestra is calibrating to some random things, and there are 15 different things that they're calibrating to, when they come together, even though they're playing what's on their sheet music, it doesn't sound good because they didn't calibrate to the same frequency. So, calibration. It's something that you really want to do. You want to calibrate to your highest good. You want to calibrate to who you really are. How do you know what that is? How do you know what to listen to? You ask people for opinions, and if you ask 10 people, they've got 10 variations on the idea. How do you come to know? Well, you've tuned yourself, and you know what the feeling of happy feels like, and you've tuned yourself, and you know what the feeling of clarity feels like. And so then you just tune on purpose, and then you just pay attention to the impulses that you get. And after a little while, you begin to notice that I was feeling this way, and this unfolded, and I was feeling this way, and this unfolded. And after a little while, you have developed a relationship with your inner being, with your own guidance system, that you can trust. It will never let you down, because your inner being knows each and every thing that you have come to awareness of preferring through all of the life experience that you have lived.